In 5, 4, 3.
Wayne's World is brought to you by Noah's Arcade. Party on, Wayne.
Hey! Wayne's World, party time. Excellent.
It's Friday. It's 11:30. It's time to party with your excellent host, Wayne Campbell. And with him, as always, is Garth.
Party on, Wayne, and party on, Garth.
Wayne's World.
It's a hot theme song, man. Party on, Badway.
Party on, I guess.
I guess. I like to play. Man, it's going to be really hard not to just quote and talk about all the things that happened in this movie, but man, it's a good one. So yeah. It's going to be a tough one. I'll try to bite my tongue as much as I possibly can, but anyway, welcome back to the Last Row podcast. My name is Drew, as always here with Badway. Yo. This is episode 146. This episode comes to you for a very special listener that requested this one. Check us out on our website, thelastrowpodcast.com. Follow us on all the social channels at The Last Row Pod, Instagram, X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, and facebook.com/TheLastRowPod. Check us out on Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. And please consider leaving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podchaser. We got a new Apple Podcast review. We'll read that at the end of the show. Thanks to everybody that left one so far. Party on, Badway.
Yeah, man. So this is tough because this is like an all-time favorite movie of mine. No exaggeration, probably see this movie 100 times. And, without doing remember this, remember that, these are hard movies for us to do, these silly comedies. So we don't do these very often, but we're going to give it a shot. Talking Wayne's World, February 14th, Drew, Valentine's Day.
It's a Valentine's movie.
Bummer. 1992. Valentine's Day. Bummer. 1992, runtime 1 hour, 34 mins. Comedy drama.
Just right.
So, I remember watching this VHS. Now, I saw the second one in the theater. I did not see this in the theater. I saw it on tape first. Do you have any recollections of the VHS, or was this a home video for you?
I saw it on
HBO, TV?
I think it was a HBO recording. Yeah. I didn't own it, but I remember we talk about SNL. I remember the characters for that, but I think I saw the movie. I think it was on home release, like on TV.
Yeah, this was part of the tape trifecta that I had of being this, Ace Ventura, and The Mask. And if you want to throw TMNT 2 in there also, I guess the quadrumphant? Quadfecta?
Quadfecta. The quad.
Yeah. So this was a VHS wear it out kind of tape for me.
I think I wore out The Mask. Yeah. I know we did that movie already, but I wore that tape out like crazy.
Oh, yeah. Directed by Penelope, don't call her Penelope, Fierce.
Penelope.
Drew, what do you know about Penelope?
I know that
anything.
I know that she didn't come back for number 2, and I know that she did not allegedly like Mike Myers. But
yeah, they had a bit of a rift on set. We'll talk a bit about that in a bit. But she did The Decline of Western Civilization 1 and 2. Are you familiar with those movies?
I feel like I need to see the.
They're not
picture.
readily available. You have to. I know this is call me crazy, but you have to buy them to watch them. You can't rent them. They're never shown on like HBO or Showtime or anything like that. But us being metal fans, I mean, especially, part 2 being a metal movie, metal documentary, it should be required viewing, but I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen these, and I feel like a blasphemous fan of the genre to have not seen this.
And she also directed a bunch of Megadeth videos, so I mean, she's well within that area.
They got the right person for the job, put it that way.
After Wayne's World, she did not get the job for Wayne's World 2, but she did direct The Beverly Hillbillies, The Little Rascals, and Black Sheep.
Dude, I love The Little Rascals. Yeah. It's a great movie. It's I know it's the show, but Black Sheep's really good too, underrated.
Yeah, so among others, but then she kind of tapered off. But yeah, pretty talented, and obviously she knocked out of the park here. IMDb, Drew, 7 out of 10.
Too low.
But I mean, people are going to be
hate it, but it's
weird about comedies. Rotten Tomatoes 79%.
It's higher than I would have expected, but it's still too low. in
Yeah,
my opinion.
Metacritic 57%. Get out of
Way
here.
too low. Get out of here.
Letterbox 3.5 out of 5.
Too low. I gave it a 4. I gave it a 4. Yeah.
You gave it a 4?
I did.
It's at
I
least
gave
a
it a 4.
4.5. That's ridiculous. I got to get back. I got to get on there to
I
counteract
should
your
probably
4.
give it a 5, actually, looking back on it.
I gotta get on there solely to counteract your 4 with a 4.5. Actually, I'm gonna make it a 5 to make our average a 4.5.
So I know that people talk about like scoring things, and if you go on Letterboxd, we talked about Letterboxd, and if you guys haven't subscribed to our friend JJ, check it out, Movie Sponge. I'm last row Drew on there. Check it out. I don't know Badway's thing. It's probably Hey Badway.
Hey Badway. I don't go on there very often.
I think like there's this concept of giving people in movies like an ironic 5 or like an unironic 5, and I can't say that I'm not guilty of it. Like, is whatever actually a 1 out of 5? I don't know. Is John Wick 4 a 5 out of 5? Like, to me, it's a 5. But like, if you're grading it as a film, there's the film, and it led to the Last Row Award of. Is it good? But did you like it?
Did you like it?
So I don't know. I actually think this is an unironic 5. I don't know my score.
What's an ironic 5? For example, like is it just like a Steven Seagal movie?
Yeah,
this movie's
like
so
that.
Great, it's a 5.
Like Time Cop. Is Time Cop really a 5?
Really a 5?
It's a 5 to me, but like
yes, it is.
As a movie, maybe it's not. Like, I don't know. It's a weird thing. We don't have to go down that tangent, but I've thought about it with this because it's like maybe as a film. It's a 3.5, but as a movie that I like, it's probably a 5 now that I look back on it.
Product of the 90s. Big screen spinoff of the Saturday Night Live skit. Rob Lowe plays a producer that wants to take the public access Wayne's World to the world of commercial television. Wayne and Garth battle to save their show and Wayne's girlfriend from Lowe. Wow, can we just call her? Can we call her Cassandra? It's just Wayne's girlfriend.
And is that really even like a thing? Like, what is that? Like, is that really the synopsis? Like, I feel like it's not really about that. Like, those are things that happened.
There's not really a huge of a plot to the whole movie, Drew. It's just just a funny movie.
It's an incident film. It was an incident.
There's a bunch of incidents. Tell us about the taglines.
You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll hurl.
Classic, love it. 3 things.
One world, one party.
They're
missing the third thing, so I'm going with the third.
Thing.
$20 million budget, $183 million return. Oh, it's kind of a hit. Kind of a hit, man.
Kind of a hit, man. Brett the Hitman Hart.
It led to Wayne's World 2, which we'll talk about probably at the end of this whole thing, which I don't know. I'm not going to reveal my thoughts on that yet. Think about it. If you're listening to this, think about Wayne's World 2.
Think about Wayne's World.
Think about it. What I do want to talk about is MTV Movie Awards, MTV Movie and TV Awards. So obviously there's a bunch here, right? There was nominees and winners. 1992 nominee, Tia Carrere, most desirable female.
Oh.
She lost to. Do you remember this? Do you remember who she lost to?
No, but like
1992.
I can't imagine.
So I'll tell you some of the other. I'm going to tell you the other nominees, and you tell me who you would have voted for. Even though I don't want to get.
It's already Tia Carrere, but go on.
So Tia Carrere, Wayne's World, Julia Roberts in Dying Young, Kim Basinger in Final Analysis.
No.
Christina Applegate, Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead.
Maybe.
And Terminator 2, Linda Hamilton.
Hell no.
So she lost to Terminator 2, Linda Hamilton.
Wow, the only hell no. She was the winner.
And I'm not saying that Linda Hamilton is undesirable. I'm not going to get into that, objectifying women on the show here. But let's just say that I feel like that wasn't set up for her to be that type of character, right? Yeah. She's going to kill you or kick your ass, right?
I'm going to say the most desirable female was Tia Carrere because she was made up to be desirable in the movie. Christina Applegate is like a childhood crush of mine.
Yeah, same.
But in that particular movie, she wasn't made up to be like a sex symbol or like, ooh, look at her. Like she was just a normal person, a normal character.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. So, and then Mike Myers was nominated for Best Comedic Performance, and he did not win. The other nominees were Bill Murray and What About Bob, Wayne's World, Dana Carvey. So you got 2. Mike Myers was probably pissed that he wasn't the only one in there.
Yeah.
You had Steve Martin and Father of the Bride, and they lost to Billy Crystal from City Slickers. Are you a City Slickers guy?
It's hard. It's hard. No, I'm
guy?
not. But like, I respect it. I do respect it.
I mean, I think Billy Crystal's funny, and I like City Slickers, but it was never one of those movies that like I thought was the funniest thing ever. Like it wasn't in my wheelhouse at that time. But Bill Murray, What About Bob? Man, that's a tough one.
Yeah, I mean, it's not one of my favorite Bill Murray movies, but it's fine. It's funny.
And then they won Best On-Screen Duo, Mike Myers and Dana Carvey. I'll
course.
tell you, the other ones were Morgan Freeman and Kevin Costner, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, Thelma and Louise, Gina Davis, and Susan Sarandon. Last
Okay.
Boy Scout, Damon Wayans and Bruce Willis. We
Good.
just had a Bruce Willis movie.
Yeah.
And then Anna Chlumsky and Macaulay Culkin from My Girl.
I get it, but like, yeah, I mean, come on, that's like
I mean, you can't beat Wayne's World. I mean,
that's
come on.
yeah, that's like a
It's-
sentimental.
It's really
Yeah.
good.
You got to do Wayne and Garth.
I think these are deserved here. It had some other stuff. I think there was other awards, but we talk about the MTV Movie Awards. There's also a VMA at one for Best Video in a Film, Queen.
Yeah, of course, got to put the Queen back on the map. I thought
The
it was a new
Wayne's World
song.
version.
We all thought it was a new song. We didn't know.
We didn't
As
know.
kids, as '90s kids, we're like, "What's this new hit by Queen?"
Yeah. Well, that's the truth. I mean,
Yeah.
we'll talk about Queen and Bohemian Rhapsody in a second, but I want to talk to you about Mike Myers because, was this the first exposure that you had to Mike Myers at that time, or were you an SNL like watcher? What
Yeah.
was your exposure to Mike Myers?
I would see snippets of SNL here and there, and I knew of Mike Myers and I knew of the Wayne character before the movie. But really, yeah, the Wayne character itself, it was my introduction to Mike Myers. Sure.
What about the character? What about Dana Carvey? So you obviously saw SNL, but did you know about Dana Carvey?
No, I had no idea who Dana Carvey was, honestly. Because my SNL, it's kind of too young for it, but saw some of it anyway. But I didn't know Mike Myers was more recognizable to me as Dana Carvey, though Dana Carvey was a more seasoned comedian, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I mean, he was on there, and the background a lot of this too is that Garth was originally barely in the script. Dana Carvey there was a lot of stuff behind the scenes here. I think you're familiar with it, but Dana Carvey quit the movie before they started shooting.
Yep.
There's a whole bunch of stuff where they just, I don't know if it was they couldn't get along, but they had different opinions on some things. And obviously you said the thing about the director Penelope.
Oh, yeah.
So do you have the background on that, right?
Yeah, so and there's a bunch to it that I'm sure none of us know, but I'm going to call it Penelope, but it's not fair. I'm going to call it Penelope. Ms. Spheris, right? So after they we'll forget about all of the in movie problems between them, because apparently Mike Myers, and I don't know if this is true of all films, but in this film he was kind of hard to work with. Was the scuttlebutt on set. Not that he was a jerk, but that he was very particular. And you know what? I can kind of see him being neurotic like that.
Maybe it makes him a good artist.
Yeah. Can't you see that out of him?
Yeah,
Right.
you can't treat people that way, but he cares about the art, I guess.
So as Spheris puts it, as they were about to have early screenings for the movie after it was finished and edited and all that, Myers' father had died. So he returned to Canada for the funeral and he missed the screenings. It got a great reception and everybody loved it, right? So he didn't know or see firsthand what was laughed at, what wasn't laughed at. He was just broadly told, hey, the people loved it. And he could have thought people were bullshitting him. So he saw the movie himself for the first time by himself at his house, right?
That's a weird way to watch a movie, I guess.
And out of that, according to Ms. Spheris, he had an 11-page single-spaced legal pad notes of what to cut from the movie. She said, and I quote, most of them sucked. This is from the Hollywood Reporter, by the way. And among the cuts he wanted to make, one was a lot of scenes involving Laura Flynn Boyle, Stacy, the character. He didn't want the bicycle scene where she falls over, very very iconic, where she crashes over the thing, right?
Scene.
Which, by the way, like the thought of a stunt actor doing that
having to do
spill
that
is hilarious to me, right? And she believes it was from the school of thought of him growing up in the sketch comedy and Lorne Michaels teaching his guys always one up the other actor. If another character is getting a laugh, it means it's a laugh you're not getting.
Yeah.
So maybe there was a little jealousy there. That's her opinion, and she might be a little disgruntled, so we don't know that for sure, right? And he also didn't want to do the Bohemian Rhapsody scene. He didn't think it was funny, along with the fact that he hated doing it because he said it hurt his neck.
I know. I saw something where they all had messed up necks from headbanging. Did they have a chiropractor on set?
Which come on now,
come on,
buddy. So and all these things, and Lorne took her aside and said, Penelope, listen, if you don't want to change the movie, you won't be able to direct Wayne's World 2. And Mike's not going to approve you to direct Wayne's World 2. And so she goes, you know what? Screw it. I told Mike, and then I got shit canned. And then she didn't do Wayne's World 2.
But did they make? So let me ask you maybe a question here. Is like, do you feel like this type of conflict makes a better movie?
Yeah, I guess if there's two different opinions, you'd be able to look at it more objectively. Sure.
Right.
And at the end of the day, apparently the cut we saw was like 95% Spheres' vision.
Okay.
She did not give in to the cuts. So what we saw was the director's cut, basically. It's
Okay.
not like it was neutered down to
Right.
what Mike Myers thought was funny, which could also have worked. Who knows? I mean, obviously he's a comedic genius. But I thought it was interesting that there was that kind of conflict on set and the differing of opinions of what was funny and what wasn't funny. I mean, based off of a comedic legend, you know, maybe not at the time, but over the years and now looking back, clearly he's a comic legend and a director with, you know, very little comedy experience, right? And it turns out she was right. You know, don't touch the movie. It's fine the way it is.
I think, yeah, I mean, I think that type of conflict could be good though, because like you said, it forces you to have a bit more of an objective view of it. Like, is he right in the way that he did it? I don't know. But you know, you almost need that like pushback, because otherwise, like you think about some of the crappiest movies when you have a guy that has full control. Like we've talked about some of the Seagal movies and stuff where it's like he just does what he wants and they're gonna have to do whatever. And like that's his director or that guy's director, right? Yeah. So it's interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, and you all listening to our show right now. I mean, if we had someone to edit us, right? Maybe this episode wouldn't be 120 minutes, right?
55 minutes.
Yeah, maybe you'd be in and out under an hour. So, but everything we record we think is gold. So we don't cut anything.
The vision. We need a producer. Yeah, I'm gonna put my producer hat on.
Yeah.
What about the other characters? So you mentioned Mike Myers being a comedic genius. Obviously, there's a lot of iconic characters that he's played. What's your favorite of all of them?
I don't know, man. I mean, this might be it, but shout out to Austin Powers, obviously.
Yeah,
I mean, now
fine.
it could be, you might be tired of Austin Powers and people like, it's almost like a Borat type thing where it's like, oh, my wife. Oh yeah, baby. you know, you can't deny it. You can't deny it. To this day, I say I've never laughed harder in the theater than Goldmember, which is weird because it might be the best of the three movies. But at the time, I'm sorry. Like, you can't beat it. You can't beat it.
I remember the first time I saw Austin Powers, like I hadn't really seen a movie like that before. Like, I mean, obviously you could say this was a movie like that, but I feel like it took up a lot of the sort of pop culture type jokes and things. And it was just sort of like a perfect blend of all of the different types of humor. And you're right. Yeah, it definitely has become a Borat kind of character, but I feel like Austin Powers at the time was one of the funniest movies I had ever seen at that. I think, was it 1997 or something, or 90?
I think so. Yeah, I think roughly
late 90s, right?
Well, close enough. Yeah,
and that was honestly one of the funniest movies that I've ever seen. Like I was never really like a fan of his after that, like Love Guru and all that other stuff. But I thought Austin Powers was like peak Mike Myers to me, like between Fat Bastard, Dr. Evil, like the blend of characters and the people that were in that movie too were great.
Yeah, 100%.
You mentioned SNL. We talked a little bit about SNL. We can't talk about this movie and not mention that, but so did you see this first or did you see SNL first? What came first for you?
I saw the SNL skits first, or at least some of them, right? And again, like, I don't know what I'm watching. Like, I'm probably not up. I can't remember my bedtime. I probably wasn't allowed up as late as I was, and I was watching it, and I didn't have the capacity to stay up past midnight, so I probably saw like the first couple skits, and if it happened to be on there, you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, SNL definitely was a big part of my childhood comedy, you know, chops growing up. And everyone says, oh, you know, the 90s is the golden age
Everyone
of
has their best.
SNL. And then people that are a little bit older say, oh, the 80s and the 70s. Like, whatever you grew up on was the best era of SNL, right? So I don't know. Do you find that true in your case, or what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's different actors and characters that I've remembered. Like when I was younger, I would watch it at my uncle's house, and we would go down to his place, and we would watch like some of the older episodes. Like he had some honestly taped. So it's like Fred Garvin, male prostitute, you know, with like that one always stood out to me. And a lot of the stuff with Bill Murray and Aykroyd and them, like those older episodes were sort of iconic to me. But like I do remember the ways that I probably watched it the most was like the late 90s and early 2000s. And there was so many iconic characters and things. But I don't remember watching it religiously at this time. Like I saw the skits and they were funny, but like the movie was what I really remember more than it being on like the episode of SNL.
Yeah. And it's funny, like that era of the 90s where, I mean, I don't know, Mike Myers, I think he dipped out right around the mid 90s. But, you know, you talk about Adam Sandler and David Spade and Chris Farley. It's a lot more of like, you know, it's bad nostalgia. If you look back at some of those skits now, it's kind of cringy, kind of not funny, kind of one note characters. And, you know, I feel like the writing definitely did improve. It was better in the 80s and it improved in the 2000s, right around where, you know, like the Will Ferrell showed up and Molly Shannon, Tracy Morgan, people like that. Right. So, yeah, I think like it's nostalgia telling you that, oh, the 90s was the best if you're a 90s kids like us. But for SNL's sake, I think it's better to just don't look up those skits. I mean, you might be, you might not be laughing. You know,
what about this movie as an SNL spinoff? So there's obviously other skits and characters that are out there. Where would you put this in the pantheon of other SNL movies? Like, there's some good ones and there's some bad ones.
Yeah,
like,
this was a hot thing to do all throughout the 90s, right? It started with Blues Brothers, which I never saw, but I was never connected to those characters because I wasn't really, you know, of age at the time. Wayne's World 1 and 2 are definitely at the top of the list, obviously. I was always excited to see them, but inevitably disappointed because they weren't that great, were they?
No.
You know what? I know you know it. The sleeper movie is MacGruber.
I was just gonna say
MacGruber is so goddamn funny.
It is so funny. It's funny like Hamlet 2 is funny. Like if you have not seen Hamlet 2, it's a funny movie. And MacGruber has no business being that funny.
Yeah,
like and so good.
Night of the Roxbury also, that's definitely a guilty pleasure 90s movie. One note characters that they kind of stretched into like an 80-minute movie, but I think watching it now, it still holds up a little bit. It's funny in its own way. And Coneheads is better than it deserved to be, right?
That's my other sleeper movie. Yeah. It's not a sleeper because it's Dan Aykroyd, right? But like that movie is probably, besides Wayne's World, that might be my favorite one from like the not MacGruber, you know.
And it's probably like the best one compared, like best made, best acted, you know.
Yeah,
Superstar. I was never a fan of the character. Ladies Man, great character, bad movie.
Yeah.
You know, Stewart and Pat.
Pat, you can't do that now. Like that. No. That's very, you know. I'm not going to go there, but Stewart was okay, but like some of these things you just can't. Yeah. And like I like Blues Brothers because I watched some of the older episodes, but I would say Wayne's World 1 and 2 and Coneheads are like my favorite. And then MacGruber, I kind of consider it like a new movie, so it's not necessarily this, but I love that. So
we have the box office numbers for all these movies, and without getting into a bunch of them, I just can't believe I'm looking at it. It was made for $8 million and it grossed 60,000. That's ridiculous. I want to do
How is
disaster.
That? Is that like 60,000? Think about what that is. Like, what was a movie ticket back then? $5? If that, like, I don't even know. 94, maybe $3.
Yeah, if you look at them, they all lost money. Coneheads, Blues Brothers 2000, Ladies Man, MacGruber, Stewart, and Pat all lost money.
It's pretty bad, man. I don't know. I mean, I guess when you look at worldwide gross, you know, they're with not kind of the marketing budget and stuff, but it's pretty bad. So I would say Wayne's World is my favorite of all of them. But let's talk about the movie itself. Opening scene is maybe you could say one of the most iconic scenes of like the 90s, in my opinion. Now I know that's like being dramatic, but it really is. It really is. It's been parodied like a million times. Were you a Queen fan at the time? So you said it earlier, like you didn't really know this song?
Didn't know this. Didn't know they existed. Didn't know who Freddie Mercury was. You know, I was 8 years old.
Yeah, same. I didn't know. It's like, I like that song.
I thought it was a new song. I had no idea.
I like that song they made for that movie. It's like, what?
And that's like every kid that saw Wayne's World that was under like 10 had no idea who Queen was, right?
It's a great, I mean, it's such a good song, and Queen's awesome, but I didn't know them at the time.
And so smart of them to just, go ahead, use the song, and just completely give it new life, right?
I think about this all the time, and there's a thing that came up recently. We talk about physical media. People talk about collecting physical media. Like, I've gotten back into buying the movies that I really like. Like, if I'm going to watch again, I own this on 4K.
Yeah.
And there was like news where the 4K release had the first 4 notes to Stairway to Heaven. I know people are talking about that because the scene in the movie when he plays the guitar, Like for the longest time, it was taken out because they lost the licensing. Like it's amazing when I think about movie licensing. Like think about having Bohemian Rhapsody. Like they're getting royalties for this. Like
Sure.
this movie was in 1992.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy to think like how did they not lose the license for that? And I mean, there's a whole legal like group of people that are specialized in like IP law, but it's crazy to me when I think about that.
Yeah, man. Speaking of Stairway, I saw. I'm not sure of the major truth to this or not, but like playing more than 2 notes, it cost them $100,000. So that's kind of like the thing where, all right, let's not have it for the VHS release. Let's not, you know,
you can't make that. You can,
yeah,
it's crazy. What about local rights to your local cable access show? I don't know how to jump this. You said in the beginning, I'm sorry, everybody. This is going to be a hard one to talk about, but it's just a fun movie. So we're going to talk about it. But Wayne's World, 11 p.m. on a Friday night.
Yeah.
Like how does public access work? Do they get funding from like, PBS? Like, is this on PBS? Like, are they getting funding for their cameras and stuff? Like, how does local cable public shows work, or is it like BYOS, bring your own show? It's like us, we don't get paid.
I feel like it's bring your own show, right? And like they had some pretty. I mean, Garth was a pretty technical guy. He knew how to slap some things together. He probably put that whole electronic board together, and it was sparking, and the house might have caught on fire a couple times. That basement. Better not be a whole bunch of lacquer on that wooden steps there.
Dude, you need so much goddamn lacquer. The thing.
But no, yeah, I think it was BYOS, and they were just doing it for the love of the game. You don't get paid for that.
Like, how do you broadcast that? It's wild to me. I guess, and
they had the van with the dish on top in front of the house.
It's just I thought they stole the van. Like I thought that's how they did it. It's weird. It's just wild to me to think about that. But you can't make this movie these days because we're a local public access right now. I mean, what we are doing as we speak is kind of like this. So
that's an internet show. Yeah, it's an internet show. That'll be streamed on YouTube, and they'd probably be millionaires, right?
Would you be a fan of Wayne's World? So would you be tuning in 11 p.m. on Friday?
I think so. I think it's right up my alley. Sure, 11:30 Friday night. Let's go.
If you had to describe what it's about, like what even is this show about? Like what do they like every Friday? What are they talking about?
Talking about babes, listing babes, right?
Ranking babes,
and then having guests on and making fun of the guests. That's what it is.
But is it a sign? Is it a badge of honor when you're on this show and they say, this man has no penis? Like, is that a badge of honor?
I feel like the people like the Suck Cut guy or Noah's Arcade guy, right? They don't see the show. They don't know what the show is. They're like, yeah, I'll come on and promote my product. Sure. These are nice boys, right? They don't watch the show. Yeah.
But like the local town sees it because like Officer Koharski was watching it and all the other people at the bar. Like, are they celebrities or do people look at them like losers? That's what I don't know.
Well, yeah, I guess it seems like people enjoy them, like especially when they go out to the club. Hey, Wayne, hey, Garth. Like they get the shout outs and, that's clear multiple scenes throughout the movie. So yeah, I think there's minor local celebrities. Like nobody's ever given them free stuff, but they got in the club. Tiny let them in the club for free. There's benefits like that.
Well, I think about like Ryan Dunn, right? As we talk about, I don't want to make it about Summer Catch here and Sean Dunn or whatever.
Oh, yeah, nice.
But it's like they are the lawnmower guys that are very successful, but other people look down on it. It's like the people at that rock club, they think it's cool because it's like, oh, that's their audience. But like, does the broader community think that they're losers? It's like these losers living in their mom's literally living in their mom's basement.
I don't know. I feel like in the nice town of Aurora, I feel like they're rooted for.
Yeah.
They're rooted for. I wouldn't say they're looked up to. I feel like it's known that they're not. These guys are cool and they're trying to get their show made. They're rooting for.
What do you think of the Friend Crew? Because I have a favorite. I'm curious if yours is the same.
Yeah, we all know who the favorite is. Yeah, it's Spew and Phil, right?
Spew guy.
Yeah. No, but I love their crew. Looks like a freaking band. It looks
they
like
do, right?
This might as well be Aerosmith, right?
Right, or the roadies for the band.
This might as well be the drummer, the bassist, and the rhythm guitarist for Aerosmith, right?
I definitely agree, and I love the like every guy has like a different job. Like you got like Neil, who's the guy on in the booth, and when they do the show. Terry is like directing the camera or whatever. And he's got like the 5-4 whatever. And then You got Alan, who is triumphant return of one of the best bullies of all time,
Yeah.
Matt from Encino Man, which just came out the same exact year, which is hilarious to me.
Sure.
I love that guy, and he was awesome in this. But my favorite was Phil, and like I got to tell you, underratedly, like maybe the best actor in this movie because he had I'm almost gonna throw up, and I'm hungover and almost gonna throw up. Like I don't. He might have actually been sick, if I'm not mistaken, because that's how good he was.
That's how good he looked. And I was telling you before recording, I watched this movie so many times, I just now realized that he was the mechanic. And I think it's because he's such a good drunk actor that when he was sober and coherent, I didn't realize it was the same guy when they go to get their car inspected. And he's like, "Hey, you guys should have been at the club last night, Crucial Taunt." It's like, we were there, man. What are you, mental? I didn't realize it was the same guy.
I wonder if mental something they invented, or was that like a thing that was said in '92? I don't remember. Like, I don't.
They very well could have made it up, or maybe it was used in circles that we were not a part of back then.
I think they had a great friend crew, and the car was awesome, and Garth's like licorice dispenser is like an iconic thing for me.
Yeah.
But what do you think of Wayne and Garth? So I wonder how long they've been friends.
Oh yeah, it seems like a school thing, schoolboy friends, right? You have to have that kind of rapport. Kind of the shy guy and the loud guy. It kind of goes hand in hand. Yeah. What's not to like?
I always felt like that could be a good Halloween costume for you and me. Like I just felt like we would. I don't know who would be who, but I would be either. Like I would dress up as either. But
flip a coin.
It would be fun. I think that's a good. And I've seen people do that, and they do it well. But what else do you think of their taste in music? Because we were talking about this a little bit before, and it leads into maybe some of the stuff we could talk about with the Gasworks and stuff in a second. But they like a lot of different kinds of music. If we're not mistaken, is it really heavy metal?
Yeah. So this could be a licensing thing. I don't know, but like they talk about going to the heavy metal club and liking heavy metal, but nothing we hear or see is heavy metal really through the movie. Now I don't want to be a metal snob, but Red Hot Chili Peppers and Aerosmith and Jimi Hendrix, they're not heavy metal, right?
No. What would you consider heavy metal? If like in 92?
Like in 1992, like Metallica or AC/DC, right? And that's that's mainstream heavy metal, right?
Sure.
But I don't know, do people think they're posers?
Where's the punk rock NBA when we need him right now?
Yeah, where is he? Where's Finn McGinty?
Finn McGinty. It's a good YouTube follow. Go check him out. You're right. Maybe they do think that they're posers because like they look, and maybe that's the whole point of it, right? They're supposed to be posers. Like maybe that's the thing.
Could be.
But they do seem like posers in my opinion. And like, I don't know, do you think that the Gasworks, and we got to talk about Cassandra, I guess. I don't know, because that's like a big part of it because she's obviously in the band.
Yeah.
But is the Gasworks really like a heavy metal club? When I see it on the outside, it certainly seems like it.
Well, I don't know if you've heard of the Jolly Green Giants or the Shitty Beatles, but I don't think they're heavy metal. And Crucial Taunt damn sure isn't heavy metal. So maybe the movie is just like heavy metal is a watered down term. And
I think, it's to like a casual fan that maybe doesn't follow it. It's like all that loud music, headbanging music.
But like, I have a question about Crucial Taunt, and as we get into Cassandra more, are they good? Are they sign worthy?
They are better than I would have expected to be just playing at some like dive bar, but maybe that is like a good club. They're in Chicago, right? So it's not like they're in nowhere.
Yeah. I think they're a solid indie band. Play the clubs, be a local favorite, but if you try to throw them on my TV or try to get me to buy their CD, I'm not sure it's happening.
But what kind of music are they? Like what? I don't even know what to call them. Like, what is that music?
Like it's just mainstream rock. Like, I don't know how else to put it. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think it's lesser than a lot of the bigger artists that are out at the time. Right? They're no
Big.
Yeah, they're no Mr. Big. Right?
It's no Whitesnake.
Their ballad, "Why You Want to Break My Heart," was terrible. I'm sorry, Cassandra. I'm sorry.
That isn't even that's like a pop song to me. It wasn't even like a metal song. And like you could say
a ballad. It could be it's like what's To Be With You versus Why You Want to Break My Heart. They're similar in like speed.
Here's why though. Why You Want to Break My Heart sounds like a pop song. To Be With You is a metal band doing acoustic Because like I
Yeah.
feel like To Be With You
Yeah.
is more of an acoustic, like they were unplugged, right? MTV unplugged.
Yeah, all
Like,
due respect to Mr. Betancourt, right?
I feel like I just feel like I don't know. I don't really understand what kind of music Crucial Taunt is. Like maybe the Shitty Beatles are better. I
Yeah,
don't
like
know.
they're just a regular generic. I'm sorry, generic rock band, which is great if you're an unsigned tour in the greater Chicago area. Maybe you bleed out into Detroit. You go to Michigan. You go to Wisconsin. You hit that whole north to central area. You maybe get an Ohio gig, right? You can make a good living that way, right?
Yeah. Well, even the name, like Crucial Taunt, like I don't.
Yeah. The name's. I think the name's mysterious enough.
What do you think about Cassandra as a front woman, though? Like she has charisma.
So yeah, here's the thing: the record exec is going to see the female front woman, and
Yep.
she has skills, and they're going to try to pluck her away from the rest of the band. However, the band is very tight.
They
right?
are. They're good. Like
Yeah.
they're like almost what do you call it? Session musicians. Like they
Yeah.
seem like
Uh-huh.
session musicians. None of them stood
So-
out, but they look like you would create them in like rock band. Like the guy with
Yeah.
long hair, and earrings and the streak. You know.
Yeah. So the record exec is going to want to pull her away and name the band Cassandra Blank, whatever her last name is. I don't know if they
Cassandra
say it in
and,
the first one.
Crucial Taunt.
Cassandra and the Crucial Taunts, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you. And so, did you know that Tia Carrera actually sang in the movie? Like that was her.
Yeah,
that was
that
her.
makes sense. I could, yeah.
I didn't
seemed
like
realistic enough.
her screaming though. It didn't seem
No, it
very
seemed forced.
It seemed like, hey, here's this actress that could sing. Let's
Yeah.
pretend that she's in a metal band and put her in here.
Especially at the end at Ballroom Blitz. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was
Li- li-
not.
Listen to us just being snobs, music snobs, crapping on Crucial Taunt. They're a perfectly fine
Where's
fake
James
band.
Hetfield when you need him?
Yeah,
Where-
perfectly fine fake band. They're no shitty Beatles, all right?
Well, maybe let's ask this different, right? So Wayne, like, I mean, he sees her and he falls in love.
She will be his.
Would she ever go for him?
Yeah.
Why or why not?
Absolutely. Because it's the classic, funny guy, make you laugh. He's always got it in, right?
But are you sure he's not a jerk?
He might be a jerk. I was thinking this the last few times I've watched this movie, right? Where like, are we sure he's a nice guy? Like he ultimately has a nice heart, right? But is he nice to his friends? Is he nice to Wayne? Or, I'm sorry, is he
To
nice to
Garth?
Garth? I don't know. Is he selfish? Maybe.
Yeah, he is. I think he's. I would say that he comes across as very self-centered. Like he's
Yeah.
very sarcastic, and like he's the kind of guy I think that would make fun of you on the street or make fun of me
Yeah,
on the street.
Like the way he makes fun of his innocent guests. Like obviously, like the nose arcade thing. I mean, that was out of
yeah, that was different.
being railroaded. But we could talk about the contract later. Going to Benjamin's apartment and spitting over the railing. Like that's like a punk teenager thing to do.
yeah.
But we know that he's like in his late 20s, right? In this movie.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like you get over that, right? If you're spitting over railings and you're 25 plus, you're kind of a jerk, right?
It's kind of like just gross, right?
Yeah.
Like-
Yeah. I don't know. Like it's hard for me to say because I love him so much, but like maybe he's the type of guy that I couldn't hang out with.
What about Stacy, his ex-girlfriend? Like, is that
Yeah.
a violation the way that he treats her, or is she annoying?
I don't know because what if she's really nice and he's like just has commitment issues? I don't know.
She got him a gun rack, dude.
Yeah, but that's proof that she doesn't know him. She bought him a gift that is very useless to him.
Well, also
Right.
after they were quote
Yeah.
broken up, it's like she
Yeah.
didn't think they were broken up. Like
I lost you 6 months ago.
we're not going to be
What
able to
you
go
meant
out
to?
anymore. Yeah, I know we're
Yeah.
broken up. It's like I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know. What do you think of Cassandra's character? Because she's in this. She's not the main character. She's almost like the object of his affection, but she's kind of badass. I like her.
Sure. Oh yeah. I mean, she played it perfectly. It's written perfectly, and I mean, I feel like every boy and some girls, from the ages of 8 to infinite were were infatuated for sure.
I don't know. I like maybe we should talk about it under Benjamin, but maybe here's a segue into Benjamin because we got to talk about Rob Lowe. He's super
Yeah.
super iconic character. Would she be interested in that type? Like,
No,
You know?
she immediately like was kind of repulsed by him.
sure.
Physically, right? He seemed like a nice guy, but she was not into his like slimeball business tactics. She fell for them, but she didn't fall for it as like an into like being,
Right.
sexual partners, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Once she was committed to Wayne, she was committed to Wayne, and nothing Benjamin's sweet talking Cantonese ordering, swanky apartment having, slick back hair having, large pants having self could pull away, right?
For fear of being insensitive, I will not try to do his voice because I don't know what he was actually saying. He was reading real words, but
Mountain
that
Dew,
just
Pensacola.
stands out to my head. Like it like the way that he spoke it, and he had like a very, I don't know a Cantonese accent, but I thought he actually did a pretty good job.
Sounded
basically.
official, right?
He sounded real to me, man.
Better than Wayne's.
Yeah, Wayne's was like,
Wayne's wasn't bad, but it was better than Wayne's.
but you have Rob Lowe, and then you've got Mike Myers. That one's a professional actor, one's like a comedian actor.
Yeah.
Like it's like a difference. I don't know. What about? So I don't know where to talk about this, and it's like, hey, remember this, remember that, but. We'll talk about Benjamin in a second. Let's talk about him producing her music video. So do you think, you said it earlier, you think that they were like a local band. You don't think they would make it. Do you think he was trying to help them make it, or was he just trying to get with her?
Yeah, we're assuming that Benjamin is nefarious because he is trying to overtake Wayne's show for financial gain. But it just seems like he's trying to help Crucial Taunt, and it could be with the end result of trying to get in Cassandra's pants. But the fact remains, he's financing this music video to try to get her career off of its feet, right?
Yeah, and he saw Wayne as like, hey, maybe she could do better. We might have to ironically throw him through the villain scale here because technically he's a villain, but I think we could do it. But
he's the villain. Yeah.
Do you think that? So he's a cable executive or some type of cable
or
executive.
Something? Yeah, it's very. He's a businessman.
It's a businessman, right? He does business. He's good at business.
He does business. Yeah.
What about like the way he had their video? Because she seemed to be like upset with the video being in the jungle and the snake and all that other stuff. Like, it kind of looked pretty cool.
Yeah, she seemed like she was being a diva there. Like she was mad. Like this is helping your career. This is what you wanted. You wanted this music video. You wanted to bust out and hopefully get a record deal, get yourself noticed, right? He's not doing anything nefarious here. Aside from trying to bang you, but at this point, this isn't known. This is just him shelling out his business, his company's money to pay for this music video.
I think they should have filmed it in that practice space where they had like the chain link fence behind it.
Did the classic 90s.
Yeah, if you get like indoor pyrotechnics for that would actually look more like them. Because it didn't make sense to have like a Tarzan thing where they had like loincloths and stuff. But maybe that's the joke because it's like he doesn't know what he's doing. Like, so why would he put them out there?
But no, the harder rock song fits in the jungle, right?
Yes.
But Why You Want to Break My Heart is definitely shot in that loft.
Yes.
With like this, there's like half the movie is showing the band playing the song there. The other half is like there's like a vague love story going on.
Breaking
There's a
up or
couple
something
on the streets. They're happy, then they're broken up, and
you get like
what's going
sheets
on?
blowing in the wind, like the windows there. That's what I'm saying. Like that
we
would
can
be.
Help. We can help this. We can help this band.
Put us in the record executive thing.
And you won't slick your hair back half as bad as he did. So.
I love that. I feel like full slick back.
Yeah.
It was
a helmet. It was like a helmet.
It was hard. Like he had LA looks like out to wazoo there. It was like flaking.
Yep.
Did you? So I don't know if this is a weird question to ask you, but. Hair gel was obviously a thing back in the 90s and 2000s. Yeah. Did you wear hair gel? Did you have it?
Yeah, not a ton because I usually kept my hair pretty short. But yeah, towards my high school career, I started using hair gel, but not really before then.
I did too. But like, did you feel that, because there was certain gel where it's like, it's not going to flake. But you don't want anyone, you touch your hair, it flakes out. And then people calling you dandruff kid and all that other stuff.
Yeah, you don't want that.
That was a way to like clown people. You like mess their hair up and you can't do that.
Right. I mainly kept it pretty short though.
What about Rob Lowe? Let's talk about Benjamin. So I'm a Rob Lowe fan. Like there's similar to Robert Downey Jr., right? They're kind of had like a similar career trajectory where they had like some controversy in their career, addiction problems or whatever, right? You had like 80s and 90s Rob Lowe and Robert Downey Jr., and then you've got like post recovery of whatever their addiction was.
The redemption.
The redemption where you get, Chris Traeger and Tony Stark. Yeah. Are you a Rob Lowe guy? Were you a fan of him?
Yeah, I mean, I only knew Rob Lowe for two things. It was this, and it was as like the side piece to the lady that was screwing Tommy Boy's dad in Tommy Boy that was trying to like get the business, right?
I love Rob Lowe.
He played a slime ball there too.
I think he was awesome. The thing that really stood out to me, and I don't know if it bothered you, but Have you ever eaten pizza laying in bed?
I can tell you I've never eaten a slice of pizza in bed.
I
can tell you that.
Me either. Like, I feel like that's another level. Like, I know there's, if you have problems with like addiction or whatever, maybe you're like eating in bed or something, but
Sure.
that's like a level to me where like I'm eating pizza while laying in bed. It's like,
Yeah.
of all the foods you could eat in bed.
Yeah. Like you can bring crackers to bed, cookies, ice cream. Those are bed foods, right?
Yeah.
Pizza is not typically a bed food. Like
The grease.
Like what's next? Are you going to bring a Subway sandwich up there? Are you going to bring like a plate of meatloaf and like with a knife and fork and peas and carrots and
You have a
mashed
steak
potatoes?
dinner?
What are you doing? Yeah,
Like,
you got a steak dinner.
what's an I feel like snacks are okay in bed, and maybe
Yeah.
pizza you could
Yeah.
consider a snack, like cold pizza.
Right.
Like maybe you sit on the bed, but he was
Yeah.
like laying in the bed after they just like hooked up or something.
Yeah.
And it's like I feel you can't do that because of the grease. But
Yeah.
like I would rather him eat pizza in bed. If you're gonna eat pizza in bed, go all out.
Sure.
He was like holding the pizza
Yeah.
like with a paper towel.
I'll tell you what though, there's a double standard because pizza is maybe one of the cleaner foods you could eat. Like
That
it's
is
better.
true.
It's better than eating cookies and having crumbs fall over your face and your sheets, and all of a sudden you're sleeping in crumbs, right? Pizza is not going to crumb, basically. But for some reason, I'm more okay with people eating cookies in bed than pizza. Just maybe because it's a dessert thing. Like I don't know,
This is
or a
such
snack
funny
thing.
I feel like a snack is okay, but
It's
a
for
meal.
snacks, not meals. Yes.
Like imagine having like I don't know rotisserie chicken in bed.
Or eating like a drumstick, just eating a drumstick of chicken.
I mean, maybe people do that. I
Yeah.
don't know. I never did, but or like
I don't know,
cereal and
seems
milk
weird.
in bed.
Yeah.
Like, you
Yeah,
just-
that's weird. That is weird. to
maybe
me.
that's okay because it's a breakfast food.
Yeah.
Like you go back in, like you sit down, but the pizza in bed. Like I don't know why I'm talking about this. It just really stood out to me that he was eating pizza. in bed.
I had a friend once who they would eat their cereal on the toilet in the morning. It's like it's so disgusting. That's what it's
Food
like.
in the
Hey,
bathroom, man.
It's like I gotta drop a deuce before school.
Yeah.
But I also gotta eat my breakfast, so it's like
Unacceptable.
I gotta save time here.
Unacceptable.
Would you rather eat cereal while shitting or eat cereal while in the shower? You turn
in the
your back to
shower.
the shower, you turn your back to the water, and you
Yeah.
eat cereal.
So I'm not a milk guy. I don't like milk. I
Yeah.
never did. So maybe you can answer this. But if you eat cereal and milk in the shower and the water gets in with the milk,
Yeah.
like is watered down milk, like is that a thing? Because I don't drink
Yeah,
milk,
it would
so I don't
taste.
know.
It would make it taste worse, different. But like if your back is to it, then it's really just the steam you have to worry about. Right?
Imagine, like, holding-
You could angle the shower down to where it's like it's not in danger of reaching your upper torso.
I feel like you can't have food in the bathroom because like it's in like the particles is all I'll say.
Yeah,
and like
I know.
especially milk, like open container of milk or
Yeah.
a drink. Like I don't
I know.
imagine drinking a soda or something in the bathroom. Like I mean I guess you could if there's a lid, but
It's
like the
better
particles.
but still not great.
Like an open
Yeah.
like container. It's like a bowl
Yeah.
of milk.
It's like even like the societal frowned upon of like bringing food into a public bathroom in general.
Yes.
Like
Oh,
even if
man.
you brought like a fully wrapped, unopened hoagie, right?
Isn't that a
And you
Curb Your
and you bring it
Enthusiasm
into the
episode?
bathroom, yeah, or something like that. I forget what the food was. You bring it in, you put it down on the sink area, you go to the urinal, which is far enough away, but it's still like that sandwich is now contaminated. I don't want it.
It was either that or the league. I feel like it was the league.
It's one or the other. It was one or the other.
Curb Your Enthusiasm. You're right. Like you can't.
But the
you
thought
can't bring that
remains.
in.
Yeah.
It's true. You're right. And Rob Lowe eating pizza in bed. I mean,
Yeah, how did we
maybe
get
that's
here?
better
It's a
than the
Rob Lowe and
bathroom.
pizza in bed. That's how we got here. The last row, people.
This is This is why you come here for food analysis. Well, let me ask you: was he? You alluded to it, and we're going to put him through the villain scale because we have to. But was he a bad guy?
Mhm. I'm going to say black and it's not black and white. There's levels of gray to this because it's his job, right? And you could say some jobs are evil, like evil lawyer,
like
evil
Philip Morris or
businessman.
something,
Yeah,
like
sure.
Chicago.
His
or
his job is to find shows, sign ad space to them, get them money, get the show, take a public access show and put it on a real channel, right? And he's doing this for them. And we don't know what the contract looked like. Wayne read the contract. At least he acted like he read the contract, but he clearly didn't read the contract. They were just looking out for the $5,000. And Garth had his suspicions, but he didn't, he's a meek guy. He doesn't want to make it known too loudly, right? I feel like it was fair business, right? And yeah, he probably screwed them, but the contract was right there, and Wayne was dumb enough. He just wanted to buy the damn guitar. He wanted the $5,000.
He had a one-track mind. But like, again, an idiot, because he's going to sign away his show, and like he sort of strong-armed Garth into it. But maybe a better question for you is, was this a good fit? Why was this a good fit for Noah's Arcade? Like, was he preying on them because he knew people liked it, so hey, it's going to help with Vanderhoffs, but like he also thought they were idiots too.
Yeah, the youth of America. I mean, if who's watching this show, right? Probably
The
a demographic of like 15 to 25, whatever it may be, right? And those are the type of people that are going to go to the arcade and spend money. So sure, it's perfect.
What do you think the stipulations of that contract were? I think it was $5,000 each. Was that the total contract, or was that just like a signing bonus?
No, he called it a per diem or something like that.
Yeah.
To where it's like, this is like an upfront amount. I'm sure there was more to it, but I'm sure the contract was littered with, we have full creative control of this show, blah, blah, blah. Wayne didn't understand it or even read it. He was just pretending, right? To act like a businessman.
Probably outs too, in case they decided they wanted to drop it or something. It wasn't working.
So yeah, you could say that Benjamin is evil, and he kind of is, and he's clearly the bad guy of the movie because everything he's doing is for his own personal gain. But he's also have an idiot guy who should have read the contract, right? Instead of
even him trying to get with Cassandra, like, I don't know how long was Wayne really dating her, and hey, he didn't do anything. He didn't make a move on her. Like he was just around, and hey, if she sees that he's a better guy, then hey, I can't help it.
He invited them all up to his loft,
yes,
and just to show he was a nice guy. But it's not like he snuck her up by himself,
right?
He did send them away to Alice Cooper,
he did,
so he could spend the day with her after the rehearsal. Now that is a bad guy move.
But he gave him Alice Cooper tickets.
But he gave him Alice Cooper tickets,
and he didn't do anything. Like I guess he asked her out to dinner, so we don't know what was gonna happen. We don't know what was going to happen.
He was moving in, but he was being kind of slow and respectful about it too.
He wasn't a complete and utter scumbag about it. Like he was whatever. But I don't know.
Yeah, I think like maybe when you're younger and you watch this movie, he looks like more of a cartoon villain because you're not thinking of Wayne as like as an idiot. He kind of is, or a jerk, right? You're thinking of Wayne as the consummate good guy in this movie, black and white, good guy, bad guy, right? But after you watch this thing 100 times, you do start to like see both sides of it. And really, he's just a businessman. He's an adult. Okay. I just now in my head figured it out. He's an adult preying on basically a man-child. Yeah. And in that sense, he's a bad guy because he's taking advantage of an what do you call it? An underdeveloped adult, right?
Yeah, like a guy who clearly was immature.
Yeah. Like Wayne, like we don't know his real age. Let's call him 25. He's a 25-year-old that's still kind of 16, you know? And in that case, he's being preyed upon by a businessman. His job,
though, is to your point, like to make the show. Now, he could have, maybe we should save it for the villain scale, but yeah, there's some things there, I guess, where he could have maybe given him a better deal or something like that. But at the same time, his job is probably to maximize the contract, right? He's got to maximize. Yeah. And I'm not advocating for that, but I'm just saying, right? What about like so you said they'd put full creative control, as you guys heard in the beginning, new theme song.
Yeah.
Was it better? Was it worse? I don't know.
Leather couch. Yeah. An exact facsimile of the basement.
The Andy Richter guy. Like,
yeah.
I mean, it looked cool. They gave him a cool set. I mean, I don't know.
And basically a permanent co-host in Noah Vanderhoff. Like that's the most messed up thing is like, you can have the slick things and it looks kind of sell out-ish, right? But the viewers are still going to tune in if it's the same comedy. But if you have the same guy coming in every week shilling his own business, then you're going to be painted as a sellout.
That's right. Like it's like if we all of a sudden got sponsored and we just had Noah's Arcade on our show here, like as a recurring segment,
and then we dedicate 15 minutes of every hour podcast to Noah Vanderhoff. And
I mean, I can't speak.
What's new on the streets? What new pinball machines he has?
I know we shilled for a bit here, but I can't blame us.
Listen,
here.
we all needed those trips.
We gotta eat. We gotta eat. What about Noah's Arcade? Would you frequent this place? Like, is it a good arcade? And how do you know?
It seems like it. I mean, hey, man, it's two of every machine, right? There's no lines. That's the big sell. Right?
He seemed like he knew what he was talking about. Like he seemed like he actually cared about arcades. And as a person who frequented arcades, don't know.
He on more than one occasion he called the kids idiots for pumping quarters into his
Yeah, but he
machines.
knew
There are no
what
winners.
they-
The game's rigged. You can't win. You're
Well-
just going to give me the quarters.
They're going to give him the quarters, but you can't. Can you win at Mortal Kombat?
Yeah.
Can you really win? Like you're going to keep playing. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
you could beat Shao Kahn, but like, can you win? Like you're playing
Right.
like those. That's how all arcades were. Like I remember getting $5 and you get, oh my God, I got how many quarters?
$5
Oh my
is
God.
forever in the arcade in the
Like-
90s for sure.
So many quarters and like playing X-Men. Like I
Yeah.
beat X-Men with my brother, like the 6-player one. It was fun.
How like what year did he go bankrupt? Because all those arcade machines and all of a sudden people
Yeah.
stopped going to the arcade. Like in
Man.
the year 2000, like did he have to sell off his Mortal Kombat machine for
guess.
$200? Like is
It's
that
weird.
the sad sale?
It is sad though, because we talked about this briefly last week when we were talking about arcades. Like, I guess it's like when you talk about the gentrification of a neighborhood or something like that, and taking this thing and turning it into like this boutique thing, where it's
Yeah.
like cheap things that used to be like simple pleasures are now super expensive. And I get it, right? Like you go to the mall here, the arcade, it's like, oh, $20 to play all day. That's a lot of money,
It
in
is.
today's economy.
Yeah.
But I get it because the rent is high for them to stay open. I would love to go there and play for a bit. Some
Yeah.
places are quarter based, but it's a lot of money.
They're banking on parents parking their children there.
Yeah.
That's one. And two, people like us who grew up when arcades
With
were a real
nostalgia,
thing, who have the disposable income to like spend a few hours, reminiscing on. Oh man, Simpsons arcade, Turtles. Yeah, let's go play.
And
And
I've done
and
it.
it works, and it's
We've
worked,
done
and
it.
we've done it, and it works.
And I'm
Yeah.
going to do it again.
and we'll do it again.
I want to support those kind of businesses, right?
Sure.
So, are there any arcade rules? So, like, I don't put yourself in a young Badway's mind here. Did you? You did go, right?
Yeah, I have a very specific question, and I don't know the answer to this, and hopefully you can help me. If you're playing a fighting game like a Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat, whatever it may be,
Yeah.
you're playing by yourself. You're playing the computer. You're trying to go up the ladder, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it a violation for a kid to just walk up next to you, throw a quarter in, and challenge you, or should they ask? And can you say no?
I think they should probably ask, but you can't say no. And I think that it's not a violation because you step into the arena, man, and
Yeah.
it's like
I don't.
But
but,
it
yeah.
sucks though. It
Yeah.
sucks. But
But
you
what if
can't
like
complain.
you have a limited number of quarters, right?
Yeah.
You don't have a job. You're a kid. You've been given a couple bucks from your parents. And all of a sudden this ringer comes out of nowhere who he's going to kick your ass. Like, are you going to waste your money getting your ass kicked by this guy who spams Sub-Zero at you? Or is that just the way it is? It's like, you're in the jungle of the arcade. That's the way it is.
Yeah, I think you're in the jungle because I feel like I don't know. I was in this scenario before. So I think I told you I had a family member and I was at the beach and we were at the arcade and we went on the boardwalk and Mortal
Yeah.
Kombat 3 Ultimate specifically.
Oh.
A family member of mine was playing and my cousin was glitching. He was glitching the kid. And
Was he doing the sweep move?
yeah, he kept sweeping him over and over and over. And they literally got into a fight in the arcade, like because the kid was so mad that like he was doing it. And can I blame him? I mean, it's part of the game.
No. Yeah.
He hit him with the barrage. That's what he did.
Nobody likes a glitch bitch, though. I don't know.
He barraged him, and that's what it was. And I feel like it was one of those things. But like he took the kid's money because now he won and it's over.
Yeah.
But I've
Right.
also equally had it to me too, where like you're trying to play. Man, I'm not really good. Like I'm trying to learn. And I remember, do you remember going there and there was like line of people, you put the,
Sure.
you said it, you put the
You put
quarter
your
on the
quarter up,
machine,
yeah.
you wait. And there was like tournaments and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I know I'm reminiscing here as an old man, but those were fun times. Like
Yeah.
you can't really experience that now.
Yes, you can. It's called online gaming.
Well, yeah, but you're going to get called all kinds of names. And like, at least in there, you had to face somebody.
Yeah, it's
face to
true. If you were going to
face.
be tough to someone, you had to be tough to their face, and most people weren't doing that.
I mean, this is a fact. I turn on friends only chat on my
Yeah.
Xbox
Mhm.
Live because I don't
Yeah.
feel like hearing a 12-year-old talking, like dropping the most
Yeah.
heinous words
Yeah.
possible. Because it's like you don't have to face anybody. I remember there
Yep.
was a situation where there was a really insensitive thing said, and then the
Mhm.
person on there like was like,
You
"What'd
get
you say?"
I mean, you say something, you get your ass kicked. That doesn't happen in online gaming.
Let's just put him through the scale. We don't have to spend a ton of time on this, but I guess he really is the villain of the movie, getting back to Rob Lowe and Benjamin
Yeah.
as record executive. Let's put him through the scale. If you guys are new to the show, check out our previous episodes. We have a patented last row villain scale, 4 categories: look or style, hideout or lair, plan, and henchman, all 1 to 5. Let's start with his look or style. Benjamin, what do you think? We touched on it a little bit, but how would you rate his look or his style?
5. Next question.
You're not even going to debate it?
Hair, suits, the pants.
Yeah.
I mean,
The pleats.
what size are those pants? Sure.
He has a tiny waist, but they parachute out. It's like
Yeah.
reverse MC Hammer pants. It's like, you know,
He's got the red convertible,
slick back hair.
slick back hair. Like it's too much. It's a 5.
Yeah, and he has a lot of different outfits.
Yeah.
He's got the phone, like you talk about it.
Yeah.
His apartment, which we'll get to in a second.
Yeah.
But what about his? Okay, so let's go 5. What about his hideout or his lair? And what is it?
His sweet ass loft.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Like I don't know. Like it's a 4 or a 5, right? It's got to be. Like
Yeah,
I hate
think
to
it's a
blow
5.
this guy up in the villain scale, but
I
I mean,
think it's
Jesus
a 5.
Christ.
Well, no, let's go 4. Let's go
Yeah.
4 because I feel like it can't be 5 because
Yeah.
I don't know if it was that good. Like it looked good to us, but
Yeah.
it could have just been a regular apartment that was like on the 25th floor. I don't know.
Like it looks good to us, like it looks good to Wayne and Garth because they don't know any better.
And I
right?
think that's how they
Yeah.
position it, right? Like, oh, he's
Yeah.
got a cordless phone. He's got
Mhm.
like cool stuff everywhere. But like, it kind of was like a regular apartment on the 20th floor, wasn't it?
I don't know. Garth called it a babe lair, and he was right. It's at the very least very nice, very posh.
It was
Maybe-
very nice, but like,
It's not like Terry. It's not Terry Silver level.
That's what I mean.
Right,
It wasn't
yeah.
like the Ennis house from Terry
Yeah.
Silver, and it wasn't also like the windows in like a Manhattan skyscraper. Like he had a balcony like we had back when
Yeah.
we lived together. Like it wasn't.
I get the opinion that maybe Benjamin he puts out more than he is, right?
Yes, that's what I'm
Maybe
saying.
he's not as successful as he portrays, but he makes himself out to be a big shot.
Well, think
right?
about it, because he's finding public cable access shows. Like,
Yeah,
you
like
know?
what if he's the son of the owner of the ad exec business or whatever the
He
hell
could
business
be.
he's part of. So he's going through and he acts like a big shot and he has some money, but he's not really that much of a success. But he portrays it. I get the sense from him, and he's that.
Can we lower it to a 3? Because it seemed like a regular ass apartment to me that
Okay,
looked nice.
that's fine. That's fair.
We came out. We're like 5, 4.
Yeah,
How about 3?
Not
How
gonna
about
fight
a
you
1?
on it. Yeah.
I feel like a 3 because
Yeah.
I'm trying to think about other people that had awesome layers, and I feel
Yeah.
like I don't think it doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
It's fair. It's fair.
like I have to temper our expectations here, because I feel like Death from Final Destination had a 4, so it's like Jerry Jones had a 5. So all right, so let's go 3. All right, what about his plan? What is the plan?
All right. Well, it was right there on his notepad there.
In his journal?
Daily reminder: Thursday, purchase feeble public access cable show and exploit it. Gee, I feel sorry whoever that's for.
I mean, it was.
So that's it. Yeah.
It was, but like, is that his idea of what the plan is? Because he wants to exploit it, but he's going to make money. It didn't say steal the guy's girlfriend. Like,
Well, that was a bonus plan, right?
well, how do we even score this? Because like his plan was to buy a TV show, which is part of his job. So that's
Okay.
part of his job. So he's just doing his job.
Let's look at what we're dealing with here. He's toying with a piece of shit public access TV show, right?
Hey, man. Hey,
And I mean, all due respect, Wayne.
hey
Mark,
man.
all due respect.
No
but
offense.
it's small potatoes, right?
Yeah.
He's dealing with a small potatoes TV show and partnering them with a small potatoes arcade.
Yeah.
So how can we grade the plan as high if he has such low expectations
He
for
does.
himself? That's why he's the son of this business owner.
He doesn't, I feel like he doesn't have a good, well, his plan is part of his job. That's his job to do it. So it's like, if you
Yeah.
just do your job, is that really a good plan? It's like, well, I went to work today and I did my work. Like, I didn't try to
No,
get
but,
ahead.
I
like-
mean, if you're painting his plan as evil, then he's executing a plan of exploiting Wayne and Garth, and also trying to steal a guy's girlfriend.
I
Right?
was gonna say, where do you put
By-
the Cassandra
yeah,
stuff in there?
By throwing his job's money at it, right? Then I'm going to give him a 2.
I think
right?
2
Because
is fair.
I think he's dealing with such small potatoes here.
I think
that
2.
He seems like a bigger threat than he is.
2 is fair because
Yeah.
you know we could say there's definitely stronger plans, but I think it's a 2. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what about Henchman?
I mean, he's got a recognizable henchman in the lawyer from
Russell?
Ghostbusters, right?
Kurt Fuller?
Russell, yeah.
Try
But
for
like,
return?
how much can we call a guy in khakis and a polo tucked in a henchman?
He
Can
had
we-
like the windbreaker too. at
Yeah,
one
can we
point.
call a guy in a windbreaker tracksuit a henchman? Can we really do that?
That's a sweet tracksuit. I mean, did you have
yeah.
any of those? Did you ever have one?
I didn't.
I wanted one, but I never did.
So like, do you remember when everyone wanted
Swish
like
pants?
an Oakley jacket?
oh yeah,
Yeah, like,
I
and
never
not-
had one.
But if you went to like the shore, the Jersey Shore, they would have fake ones,
The ripoff, yeah.
the rip-off ones. But like
Oakley.
everyone wanted a real Oakley jacket. I never had one.
I never had one. The
It
pullover
reminded
though,
me
you're
of
talking
that.
about, right?
Yeah, the pullover,
With the,
right?
It's
Yeah.
sort of like
It's
the
like
starter
a
jacket.
like quarter zip kind
yeah,
of.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man, that was sweet. I bet that would
Yeah.
come back now. The 90s are
Yeah.
hot again, man.
That's what it reminded me of. But no, like I don't know, like do we give him? It's either a 1, which is basically a 0, or a 2.
I think
Like,
it's
what do you
got to
think?
be a 1 because Kurt Fuller Russell turns against him.
Yeah, he
in the
turns
end.
against him. He doesn't die for him. He goes against him.
You can't
Yeah.
call Noah Vanderhoff his
Yeah.
henchman. He's a client, so you
True.
you can't
He's a
really
client.
do that.
Yep.
I mean, we didn't really see anybody else, so I feel like it has to be a 1 because I feel like
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
it's
Yeah. Usually
Like-
the henchman's supposed to die for you.
he
he
turned
didn't die.
he
die
didn't
for
take a
him.
bullet for him.
No.
He did not take a bullet for him. All right,
Yep.
so let me total these up. So 5 for Liquor Style, which I cannot disagree with. A 3
Yeah.
for Hideout and Layer, a
Mhm.
2 for a Plan, and a 1 for Henchman. That gives him an 11 out of 20, which is
Fair.
respectable again.
It's
Like
fair.
you said it a couple weeks ago, or was it last week? But the scale, it balances itself out, doesn't it?
Yeah, you'll like it, just because a guy starts off strong doesn't mean that he's going to be an all timer. Because the scale, it shows the whole of a man or a woman. You know,
I know we've talked about having different categories and things in here, but I feel like it does balance itself out because
yeah,
it's very hard to get a fully realized like
Yep.
super strong villain.
Sure.
So I feel like, yeah,
but they're not all M. Bison, Drew.
they're not all Terry Silver.
They're not
So,
all Terry Silver.
All right. I don't know how to wrap this up, but maybe this is the way to do it because it's a great movie, right? It's just a great movie, and
Sure.
yeah, there's a remember this, yeah, remember that, but it's just the day in the life, a couple days in the lives.
Mhm.
But what do you think is a better movie? And I don't know if this is a controversial question, but do you think Wayne's World 1 is better or is Wayne's World 2 better? Because I want to do Wayne's World 2.
All right, people, don't flame me. 1 is a better movie. I like 2 more.
I think it does fall in the Ghostbusters 2
Kind of like
territory.
Ghostbusters 2 vein. It's just it's got more jokes. It's not as clever jokes you could argue, and that's fair. It's bigger. I think the plot is better. I think there's a more enjoyable journey through the movie than in 1.
I think the stakes are bigger too, and I feel like
Mm-hmm.
the first one is just a bunch of things that happen. And I agree with you. 1 is definitely a better movie. It's
Mm-hmm.
objectively it's a better movie, but 2 is just has so many
Yeah.
different things in it that I remember, like the Del Preston stuff, like the whole
Del
Wayne
Preston.
stock, like the
Yep.
idea of doing that.
Yep, Christopher
The,
Walken, the Village People scene.
Yes,
Naked Indian.
there's so many.
Jim
things.
Morrison Dream, putting on the rock concert, training for the rock concert,
Christopher Walken,
Yeah.
man, it's like he's
the fight
so
with
good.
Cassandra's dad, calling off the wedding. I mean, remember when, Drew? It's
We'll have to do that movie at some point, but I agree. And like we say Ghostbusters 2. I think Ghostbusters 2 is more fun. Yes, I actually do like Ghostbusters 1 more than 2 because it's it is a better movie. But
Yeah.
2 is good, and I think Wayne's World 2 like gets some hate. I don't know why. Like I think it's a great
Yeah.
movie. It's really fun. So I agree with you.
Mhm.
All right, so before we get out of here, we got to read. There's one iTunes review that we got, or Apple Podcast review. Excuse me. I know it's 2024. This one comes from Grumpy Yoda, and it says, "Hey, you guys, love these guys. Yippee ki
Kanye. Now,
If you
Drew,
got-
is he referencing the Goonies there? Hey, you guys.
I don't know.
You think?
Maybe it
Let
is.
us, let us know, Grumpy Yoda.
This comes in from the UK, so it's not
Yeah.
in the US store, so you're not going to see it there, but it's in the UK
Yeah.
Apple Podcast store. But thank you, Grumpy Yoda, for leaving us this. I know we've got some UK listeners. UK Lee, if you're out there, shout out. There's a bunch of other folks there, but thanks for leaving the 5-star review. It's been a while since we had one. If you guys are new to the show and you're enjoying it, hit subscribe, please. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. You can do it on Spotify. I can't read it there because there's no comments, but leave us one and we'll read it on the show. And appreciate everybody that's taken a minute and left one. But thanks to everybody that's sticking with us. Send us an email, thelastrowpodcast@gmail.com. Leave a comment on the episode's page, thelastrowpodcast.com. Follow us on all the social channels at The Last Row Pod. We'll be back in 2 weeks, the day after Valentine's Day. Bummer.
Ooh,
February 15th with a new episode for you guys. And on that note, we'll see you then. Cassandra!
Wrong movie.
Dude, did it bother you? Like, I just don't like watching like Wayne's junk in the tiny whities. Like, it's like this tiny whities is just annoying to me.
It was hanging, and dare I say, was it a prosthetic?
He stuffed it in there.
Either that, or he's like long ball Larry. You know,
Long ball Larry.
Jeez.
Did you wear tiny whities? Did you have tiny whities in 1992? I think I did.
I feel like I wore tiny whities until I had to change for things.
Until you got to pick your own.
And then the first day, I realized that we changed in front of other boys for gym class, and then I had the tiny whities on, and that was the last time
I can't wear this.
So it was probably September of 6th grade.
Yeah.